There's one person you can't forget. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much time passes, they're always there, living in the back of your mind like a song you can't stop humming. And here's what nobody tells you. They're thinking about you too. I know that sounds impossible. I know you've convinced yourself that you're the only one stuck in this loop. But by the end of this video, you'll understand why the person you can't forget is the same person who can't forget you. This is Deep Mindset. Let's dive in. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named David. Normal guy. Good job, great friends, but there was this one woman, Sarah. They met years ago, talked for a few months. Nothing official ever happened. Life got busy. They drifted apart, but David couldn't shake her. Every few weeks her face would pop into his mind. He'd wonder what she was doing, who she was with, whether she ever thought about him. He felt crazy, like he was obsessing over someone who probably forgot he existed. Then one day, out of nowhere, Sarah sent him a message, just one line. "I've been thinking about you." David stared at his phone in disbelief. How? Why now? What changed? And that's when he realized something most people never understand. When you can't forget someone, it's not one-sided. It's never one-sided. Here's the truth. The human mind doesn't hold on to people randomly. Your brain is efficient. It filters out what doesn't matter and holds on to what does. So if someone has been living in your thoughts for months, even years, it's because they left an emotional imprint so deep that your subconscious refuses to let them go. And here's the wild part. That same imprint exists in their mind too. Because real connections aren't one-way streets. When two people share genuine chemistry, when there's unfinished emotional business, both minds stay locked in the same loop. You think of them, they think of you, sometimes at the exact same moment. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds too good to be true. If they're thinking about me, why haven't they reached out? And that's a fair question, but here's the answer. Fear, pride, uncertainty. The same things keeping you silent are keeping them silent. They're wondering if you've moved on. They're scared of rejection. They're convincing themselves that maybe it was all in their head, just like you are. So both of you are stuck in this painful standoff, waiting for the other person to make the first move. And meanwhile, time keeps passing. Let me explain the psychology behind this. There's a concept called quantum entanglement. In physics, it means two particles that were once connected remain connected, no matter how far apart they are. If something happens to one particle, the other particle reacts instantly. Now, I'm not saying human emotions work exactly like quantum particles, but there's something similar happening on an energetic level. When two people form a deep emotional bond, their minds create a resonance, a frequency. And that frequency doesn't just disappear because you stop talking. It stays active, which is why you think of them out of nowhere, why you dream about them, why you feel a pull you can't explain. And they're experiencing the exact same thing. But let's go deeper. Why does this happen with one specific person and not others? You've met plenty of people. You've had other connections. So what makes this one different? Here's the truth. The person you can't forget is the one who made you feel something you rarely feel. Maybe they made you feel truly seen. Maybe they awakened a part of you that you'd forgotten existed. Maybe being around them felt effortless in a way that most relationships don't. Or maybe, and this is the hardest one to admit, they represent a version of your life you never got to live, a path you didn't take, a possibility that never became reality. And your mind keeps returning to them because it's grieving that unlived future. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you can't forget them and they can't forget you, why aren't you together? And the answer is almost always the same. Timing, fear, circumstances. Maybe when you met, one of you wasn't ready. Maybe life pulled you in different directions. Maybe you were both too scared to admit what you felt. But here's what I need you to understand. Just because something didn't happen doesn't mean it wasn't real. Just because you're not together doesn't mean the connection wasn't powerful. And just because time has passed doesn't mean the feelings have disappeared. Let me tell you what's probably happening to them right now. They're going through their day, trying to focus, trying to move on. But then something triggers a memory of you. A song, a place, a random thought, and suddenly you're all they can think about. They pull out their phone, they stare at your name. Their thumb hovers over the message button, but then doubt creeps in. What if they don't feel the same? What if I'm bothering them? What if they've moved on and I'm just embarrassing myself? So they lock their phone. They tell themselves to let it go, but the thought of you doesn't leave. It never really leaves. And this is the painful irony. You're both stuck in the same mental prison, both thinking about each other, both too afraid to say anything, both convincing yourselves that the other person has forgotten. But the truth is, real connections don't fade. They might get buried under time, distance, and life's distractions, but they don't disappear. And the person you can't forget, they're carrying the same weight you are. They're asking the same questions. They're feeling the same pull. So what do you do with this information? You have three options. Option 1, you keep waiting. You keep hoping they'll reach out first. You keep replaying memories and wondering what if. But here's the problem with waiting. Life doesn't pause. People move on, opportunities close. And one day you'll realize you wasted years thinking about someone you could have just talked to. Option 2, you let them go. You accept that some connections aren't meant to be. You make peace with the fact that they were a beautiful chapter, not the whole story. And you move forward knowing that letting go isn't forgetting. It's just choosing yourself. Option 3, you take the risk. You reach out. You say what's been sitting in your chest. Not because you're guaranteed a happy ending, but because living with regret is worse than living with rejection. Here's the truth most people avoid. If you don't reach out, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering. And so will they. But if you do reach out, at least you'll know. Maybe they'll tell you they've moved on. And yes, that will hurt. But it will also give you closure. You'll be able to stop wondering, stop hoping, stop waiting, and finally truly move forward. Or maybe, just maybe, they'll say the words you've been waiting to hear. I've been thinking about you too. And suddenly all the fear, all the doubt, all the time you wasted, it will make sense. Because you'll realize you weren't crazy. You weren't imagining it. The connection was real, and it still is. Let me leave you with this. The person you can't forget isn't haunting your mind by accident. They're there because something between you was left unfinished. And until you either resolve it or release it, they'll keep showing up in your thoughts. But here's the empowering part. You get to choose what happens next. You can stay stuck, or you can take action. Either way, stop torturing yourself with maybes. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop assuming they've forgotten, because chances are they haven't. And the only way to know for sure is to ask. If this hit home, drop one word in the comments. Their name, soon, scared, ready, whatever you're feeling right now. And if you want more real talk like this, subscribe to Deep Mindset. We don't do fluff, we do truth. See you in the